Hello, this is Darice. Welcome to Moonlifeastro if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. I do appreciate it. Today, I wanted to get into the Saturn and Neptune dance that's been happening for most of 2025 and talk about how it's building to the conjunction in February 2026. I know a lot of astrologers have been talking about it and thought I'd just add myself to the mix here. But before I get into that, please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That does help me get the message out to more people. And I thought I'd take a break from regular scheduled programming and just kind of talk about some of the overarching things that are coming up around Saturn and Neptune in 2025. Feels like a good time to do it. We're almost halfway, we're more than halfway through the year, actually. And I just wanted to sort of share some of my thoughts and intuitions around what's coming up for that. Basically, Saturn and Neptune are slowly moving toward a rare conjunction and it'll be exact in 2026. So this year, 2025, it's really a preparation phase. We're building spiritual stamina, refining our vision, and confronting escapism. Effectively, faith meets form, dream meets discipline, and this is an opportunity for us to build a business and a life that actually really feels like a sacred offering. Uh, Saturn is, of course, structure, responsibility, maturity, the timekeeper. Pisces is intuition, mysticism, creativity, and flow. And so when Saturn was in Pisces, it was basically teaching us how to create containers for our soul's work. So maybe let me go over the dates effectively just to kind of remind us of where we were with Saturn. So Saturn entered Pisces back in March 7, 2023, and then it entered Aries earlier this year, May 24, 2025. It's going to be retrograding later back into Pisces in the year, September 1st. And then it'll re-enter Aries February 13th, 2026. Neptune was in Pisces from April 4th, 2011 until March 30th, 2025. And it's going to retrograde back into Pisces in October. And then it re-enters Aries January 26th, 2026. So I wanted to also check in because it feels like a good time to reflect on what we've been through this year with Neptune and Saturn, and the fact that they're both going to be retrograding back into Pisces September, October of this year. Basically, that's going to give us the chance to tie up any loose ends with whatever was unfinished when Saturn and Neptune were both in Pisces earlier this year and in their previous transits. So maybe when they were both traveling through Pisces, did it give you an opportunity to clarify your vision, your spiritual practices, or did you develop new spiritual tools? And if you haven't, these upcoming retrogrades could be a good time to look into that sort of thing. And I feel like since all of this is also happening against the backdrop of Pluto and Aquarius, I feel like this dance between Saturn and Neptune is really inviting us to look at how do I want to position myself during this great transition that society, the world is about to go through over the next 20 years. I think it's an opportunity to really go within internally and clean up whatever needs to be cleaned up so that we can be very clear about the vision we want our lives to serve. And that includes our businesses, our creativity. How are those businesses, our creative endeavors, how are they an expression and an extension of our soul's growth and progress? And if we can really use these energies to sit with that and to really be conscious about how we want that to look, what is the foundation we want to create over the next 20 years? How do we want to transform ourselves and the world over the next 20 years while Pluto is in Aquarius? I feel like this Saturn-Neptune dance is another layer of that question. It's giving us energies and support to work with and to guide us towards that deeper vision, that deeper truth. Now, like I said, we are preparing for that big conjunction between Saturn and Neptune in February 2026. And the last time there was a major Saturn-Neptune conjunction was in 1989. So there were some pretty major spiritual, cultural, and technological shifts at that time. In 2025, they basically move within a few degrees of each other. So I think that's why we've been feeling this pressure to really decide, what are our ideals? What are our visions? What are our standards? And how do we bring that into reality? How do we bring that bigger Neptune vision of what's possible into form? And I feel like this year, this is our opportunity to test, experiment, refine, and figure out what it looks like so that when it happens in 2026, we're on a stronger foundation to fully commit to what that next vision is. So, as a solopreneur, as a creative visionary, this is an opportunity to really turn those intuitive downloads into some tangible offers, and also to create some rituals that support your productivity. Like I said earlier in the year, those deep work sessions, you know, use those to really hone in on, first of all, giving yourself permission to meditate, fantasize, visualize what the really big dream is, what's absolutely possible, what feels impossible. And then take other time, maybe another deep work session to figure out some of the hows, some of the strategies, some of the how to's. And again, I think it's an invitation to remember that we have the opportunity to redefine success based on our soul, not only metrics. And I mean, maybe just to revisit a few things that have already happened in 2025. February 13th, we had Saturn conjunct Neptune. So maybe think back, what happened around February 13th? Um, and this could be potentially an early whisper of what's coming up in February 2026. What are you building that's in service to the overall collective? March 20, 2025, we had the Sun conjunct Neptune and Saturn. So what came up for you around maybe your brand, your visioning, how you wanted your launches to look this year? Were there any spiritual leadership resets, for example? And the other reason why I wanted to revisit this is that coming up pretty soon, August 1st, we're going to have Venus a square both Saturn and Neptune. And then the next day, Venus is going to then sextile Saturn and Neptune. So I think that's going to give us an opportunity to really look at our relationship to devotion. How, like, what part of our lives are we devoted to? What part of my business am I devoted to? How is that vision? How is my purpose reflecting back to myself and the world the devotion I have to spirit? And I think if we can get clearer on those ideas, those themes during this Saturn Neptune dance, I think we'll be in a stronger, healthier space for that conjunction that's happening in February. In other words, it's basically an opportunity to build deeper emotional integrity into your business, into your creative endeavors. And then September 28th, we're going to have Saturn oppose Venus. So again, another reality check in our relationships, our money, and also our values. And again, that's going to be around that time where we're in that retrograde energy of Saturn and Neptune going back into Pisces as well. So in a nutshell, I do feel like this year is really ideal for reworking your business foundation, looking at how you can offer more sacred, high integrity service, and also creating boundaries that honor your sensitivities and your rhythms. Being in touch with your own nature, like what works best for you. When do you have periods of high productivity and when do you need recovery and rest? And it's okay if it doesn't look like the structure that our society is always imposing on people. Are you able to give yourself freedom and flexibility and what that looks like? Is there a way for you to be building your workflows around the moods or the rhythms of, say, the moon or other astrological transits? And also, are you able to anchor your offers in a long-term vision? And what do you want that long-term vision to look like? And if you already have a long-term vision, do you give yourself permission to tweak it, to revise it, to change it as your intuition calls you to do? And do you have flexibility built into that to a certain extent? Are you able to do that? And there are no right or wrong answers here. I just think it's important to give ourselves permission to ask the question, to not always move from this space of autopilot. Another question to consider with this Saturn-Neptune dance is, where does my business need more soul? And where does my soul need more structure? And basically, if you want to take some time to do some meditation or reflection, if you want a ritual, here's something that you can consider. Maybe light a white or blue candle and then write down your dream vision for your business. You can write 3 tangible actions you commit to this month to support it, or at least for the month of August. Say aloud, I honor the divine within me. I build with intention. I devote myself to what matters. If any of this resonated, feel free to put the comments down below. If you have questions, I'd love to hear more. If you have more questions around this topic that maybe you'd like me to address in a future video, please feel free to let me know that as well. Again, please do remember to like the video if you got some value from it, subscribe to the channel, and just really honor yourself. Honor all that you've done so far this year. And 2025 has been really difficult in a lot of ways. And so, applaud yourself for still hanging in there, getting up and keeping going, keep moving, acknowledge that you've done that and that you've met some really heavy challenges. Pat yourself on the back, applaud yourself for doing that. And again, continue to take care of yourself, do those self-nurturing practices, work with your healers, your therapist, the fresh air, the exercise, the healthy nutrition, staying hydrated, getting healthy amounts of sleep, all of that stuff. Continue to do those things. And I kind of like July and August overall in terms of the astrology for this year. I do feel like we get a bit of a breather from some of the more intense aspects of the year. And like I said, September, October, we're going to have those retrogrades, which could make things more intense. And the end of the year has some more intense astrological aspects as well. But I will be with you every step of the way. We're going to get through this together. And I do feel like all of these challenging aspects is ultimately for our highest good. It is helping us evolve and mature mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I do personally believe that we are evolving as a species and that this is part of us expanding our human consciousness. And that all of this is ultimately for our highest and best good. And that there is a lot of love in the world. And when we see so many things going on around us, it's very easy to forget that. So do remember all the love that you have within yourself and for others, and all the love that is available to you. And do your best every day to express a little bit of that love to the people that you can and share that with. And simply just continue to show up, be present. Life is a beautiful gift. And I need to remember that. And I do these videos to help remind me of that as well, is that life is truly precious. And I am grateful for all of the good that I have been given. And I'm grateful for all of these amazing spiritual modalities that I have access to, including astrology. And I love continuing to use it as a tool to help me grow and expand emotionally and spiritually and to connect with others. And I'm just wishing you all the best. Love, peace, and joy. Easefully yours, Darius.